because we've been always programmed to be a victim. I said, well, what happens if you're a victim? Well, victim means powerless. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm powerless. Give me a pharmaceutical drug. Well, they depend on you believing in that. Pharmaceutical drugs. In the U.S., we have about 35,000 deaths from illegal drugs. And we got a war on illegal drugs, 35,000 people. Do you know what? 300,000 Americans die from prescription drugs every year. What do they call that? That's the cost of doing medicine. I think that's a damn expensive cost to do medicine. And nobody talks about 300,000 people dying, 35,000 people, we got a war. 300,000 people, that's just the way life is. No, it's not. That's not the way life is. So let's understand something. We first just come to this important conclusion. This conclusion is simply this. Your consciousness is controlling your culture medium, which in turn controls your genetics and your behavior. You change your consciousness and you change the character of your life. And that's the part. And all of a sudden it becomes not as simple as I just said, but we're going to get into it very quickly because I don't want to run out of too much time. We'll go back to cells. 50 trillion of them in your body. The basic structure of cells and how they work are due to what are called proteins. There are about 100,000 different proteins. Proteins are very complex molecules, very complex. But they wear out. And that becomes a problem because if a protein wears out, you have to replace it. I go, yeah, but how do you replace something as complex as a protein? Well, we know that proteins give us the anatomy. That's cool. But now we're going to tell you something new. And that is simply this. How does a protein work? What is it? A protein is a string of amino acids. There are 20 different versions of amino acids, but a protein string may have 1,000 amino acids. It's the sequence of amino acids that determines the structure of the protein. Change the sequence, change the structure. So 100,000 proteins have 100,000 structures due to 100,000 sequences of amino acids. And I say, well, how does it work? I say, well, they're synthesized as a string. Proteins are strings. But they have positive and negative charges. And I said, well, what happens if I have a positive charge here and a negative charge here? And the answer is clear. Positive and negative attract each other, so the protein will fold. I go, okay, now look at it this way. This is a string, a protein string, a filament of amino acids. This is what it looked like when it just got synthesized, a string. Like a string of beads, amino acids. Yeah, but there are positive amino acids, there are negative amino acids, all along the string. So here's the point. After the string is synthesized as a string, it knits itself into a three-dimensional object. Nature has created yarn that knits itself. The protein is a piece of yarn, and when you let it go, it will knit itself into a three-dimensional structure based on the charges. Okay? Like charges repel each other, opposite charges attract each other. The charges are all over here. I'm going to show you what happens in 1/1000th of a second. This is a real picture of it. It's an animation made from a real study of a protein folding itself, knitting itself into a three-dimensional structure. There's going to be some yellow ribbons, they're called. That's a biochemical terminology, but let's show it to you. Watch what happens in 1/1000th of a second. It starts recognizing the positive and the negative charges. It starts binding them into the best and most stable configuration. There are ribbons in yellow, but now look, it's a three-dimensional structure. It was a piece of yarn and knitted itself. Nature is better than we are. Knitted yarn itself knits. I go, well, that's the structure of the protein. I go, so you ready? I asked you this question. It's going to come up real big. What is it that controls the final shape of the protein? There'll be a quiz in a couple of minutes and we'll collect the papers. Okay, let me tell you if you didn't get it. It's the sequence of electrical charges that bind opposite charges coming together, negative charges repelling each other, and when you assemble it, you get a three-dimensional structure. And that's really important because, well, I'll tell you. I love this part. I'm going to tell you the secret of life. You know why I want to tell you? Because it's about the simplest thing you could ever imagine, and yet we made it complex. I said, what's life? I said, protein gives us this three-dimensional structure. Okay? But where does life come from? You ready? Now go back to the previous statement about it was the charges on the protein that determined the wrapping of the protein. You got that? Okay? Well, the point about it is this. Here's three different proteins. This one is sluggish sometimes. I have to tell you, work. Okay, just give it it may work or not. Okay. I say, how does proteins work? Well, first of all, they give you a three-dimensional structure. Guess what? You're made out of proteins. Where do you think your shape came from? It's all three-dimensional structure of proteins. But guess what? A dead person, a cadaver, has the same three-dimensional structure. So proteins provide for your structure whether you're alive or dead. But what's different if you're alive? And the answer is this. Signals from the environment show up. And when an environmental signal binds to a protein, it changes the charge. When the charge changes, the knitting changes. When the knitting changes, the protein moves. It changes shape. That's life. How simple is life? Made out of proteins plus signal makes movement. Proteins, no signal, no movement. You ready for a hard question? Then what do you think is different between a live person and a dead person? All right, come on, it was so simple. Did I just make it complex? A dead person doesn't have the signals engaged with the proteins, so they don't move anymore. There's still a human body, it's a cadaver, but it doesn't move. Movement comes from where? The environmental signals. I go, oh my God. Then it makes a difference on your life of what environmental signals are you responding to, because that's where physiology comes from. Environmental signals cause life. I simplify the whole thing. The simplest equation of life ever. You are protein. Signals come from the environment. When a signal binds to the protein changes shape. That's behavior. The protein is the mechanism, but the signals are the control. It's the signals that you are sending from your consciousness to the cells that control the genetics and the behavior. Change your consciousness and you change those signals. And when you change those signals to live in harmony, then you will manifest full-out health. Unless you're part of that small, less than 1% that may have a genetic issue. But that's over 99% of the people have no genetic issue. But there's a health crisis. Why? Not living in harmony. It's the simplest thing in the world, not living in harmony. Okay? So the point about this is, this works at the level of the cell because that's where the proteins are. Yeah, but you're made out of 50 trillion cells, so it works at the level of the human. So the protein, the cell, the human are all dependent on the control of signals. I say, what kind of signals? This is where the planet changes. Because we've been programmed in a Newtonian belief. Remember, separate the universe into energy and matter, and recognize that matter is only affected by other matter. Energy is affected by other energy, but energy and matter don't interact. And I go, well, there's a big important problem from this, because according to Newtonian physics, there's two separate realms that don't talk to each other. Okay? And the story I want to show you right here is from this article from a long time ago, 1990, just on the edge, when epigenetics was being understood by science. And it's from Dr. Slime, Deciphering the Language of Cells. I said, what was he doing? Well, conventional science was saying you want to change the proteins, put a drug in there, a chemical. A chemical changes proteins. But Slime said, no. I can change the protein's function by electromagnetic fields. Energy, invisible energy, is shaping the protein. Well, conventional scientists didn't take to that at all. Matter of fact, I love it because right here in this little part of the introduction, a prominent biochemist in a recent conversation with Dr. Song even labeled his study of this type of cell communication as astrology and maintained signals can only be carried by the substance of chemistry. Do you understand then why medicine depends on the pharmaceutical industry? Because the belief system says you want to change the signals, then you must use chemistry. And if you must use chemistry, then the pharmaceutical company are the people that make that chemistry. But I'm going to give you a secret right now. Very big secret. And it's what? If a drug works, it works because you have receptors on your cells that respond to that drug. Yes, that's true. But the question is this: did God give you receptors waiting for the pharmaceutical company to make the drug? No, guess what? Your own brain is the pharmacy. Your own brain makes the drugs that control your cells. Then you say, but why isn't it working? Why should I take the drug? Because your consciousness is not releasing that drug into the culture medium. Remember, I showed you, it's the consciousness controlling the composition of the blood. Do you have everything that pharmaceutical makers make? I said, better than what they make. You have the original signals, and your signals control your cells. But if those signals aren't there, then you look for the outside and say, give me a signal to make it work. And I'm saying, screw the pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
It's you that makes these signals. All of a sudden start to recognize, and why am I not making a signal? And the answer is, what are you thinking? Are you thinking positive thought or are you thinking a negative thought? Why? The thoughts are making the chemistry. You are preventing yourself from healing yourself, not because you can't make the drug. It's because your consciousness is not releasing the drug. For whatever reason, you are creating a problem in your life. And I said, why are you creating a problem in your life? I didn't say the outside caused a problem. We create our own problems, okay? So, the idea the universe is made out of matter and energy, that disappeared in quantum physics. Everything is energy, that's what it said. Everything is energy. So the significance is this: energy is invisible, but I can tell you what it looks like, because when you drop a rock into the pond, the ripples are the result of energy, forcing the water into the shape of energy. So energy is the shape of a wave. Okay? And I go, we used to think the atom was the smallest thing. In fact, in Greek, the word atom means uncuttable. So the word atom meant the smallest particle in the universe. But in 1895, scientists looked inside and said, oh, they found something inside. Electrons are running around. A New Zealander discovered the nucleus and understood there's something in the middle as well. Oh, smaller particles, electrons, protons, neutrons, small particles, but it's still physical. But by 1927, they said, what are those particles made out of? And when they looked inside those particles, this is what they found. You ready?
Nothing.
Nothing. There's nothing physical inside an atom. An atom is an energy vortex like a cyclone, which we have familiarity with here. Me too, at Kerry. I had to get a helicopter to get out. But a cyclone is a force. And that's why when you push on somebody, they're not made out of matter, they're made out of energy, but energy has a force and it will push back. And therefore you can feel energy. You can't see it, but you can feel it. Okay? So atoms are not anything physical. Atoms are energy. Albert Einstein. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. The idea is the universe is all energy. Everything is energy here. And it becomes really critical. Here's the scan, the MRI scan. Oh, vertebrae, spinal cord, muscles, tongue, all these pieces. This is not a visual picture. This is an energy profile. This is energy, not physical. It's a machine that doesn't read physical. It only reads energy. Okay? So we grew up in the Newtonian world. Our atoms are physical particles. They come together, boom, they make chemistry, and they go blah, blah, blah. I go, yeah, but the quantum physics says no. In fact, this is an illusion because there's nothing in the middle, because it's an energy vortex like a cyclone. And I go, that's what an atom looks like. It's not even physical. But atoms interact. Why? Look at the wave pattern. Look at the wave pattern, and then look where the waves overlap. A pattern change. When energies interfere, they change the pattern. The pattern is what we characterize as matter. Different forms of matter, different energy patterns. That's what it's all about. And what do we call the energy? We call it the field. The field. You're immersed in the field. Yeah, there's radio broadcasts right now, television broadcasts, cell phone broadcasts, even solar energy is still broadcasting right through this room right now. You're immersed in an aquarium of energy. You're in a field. The most important quote is going to come up here. That most important quote is this. The field is the sole governing agency of the particle, or matter. The energy field is what governs matter. Matter is energy, so the energy field's governing. And the point about energy fields is, well, there's no border to them. Here, let me show you energy fields controlling matter. Piece of paper. This is a big experiment. I've told many people how little this experiment costs, but I'm so glad it cost little because I left the university when I did the experiment and I didn't have all the bucks I had when I was doing research, but I did buy a piece of iron and a file. And I took that file and I took that iron and I filed that iron and I made a pile of iron dust called iron filings. And I take that iron filings dust and I put it in a salt shaker and I sprinkle the iron filings and boom! Experiment number 1. A random pile of iron filings. Throw it away, sprinkle it again. More random pile of iron filings. Every time I do it, random. But now the big bucks did the experiment. I bought a magnet. I put that magnet under the piece of paper. Now I sprinkle the iron filings, and lo and behold, there's structure. Where did the structure come from? Did it come from the iron filings, yes or no? Say no, because the iron filings alone didn't do anything. I just want to help you before the quiz. Okay? So I said, then what caused this? What caused this is matter plus field gave us structure. Matter without field, random. Okay? Yeah, every time I sprinkle, I'm going to get the exact same pattern. Okay, you want to take a little fun joke here? Let's look at it this way. Instead of iron filings, let's say this is a cancer tumor. I say, what causes the tumor? Conventional Newtonian biologists said, the programming of the tumor is in the genetics of the cell. There are oncogenes that create this pattern. And I'm going to tell you something. They call them oncogenes, but they don't create the cancer. You know what creates the cancer? Not the cells. The field. Change your consciousness and you change cancer. It's consciousness that leads to cancer, not good consciousness. But if you change that consciousness, you can eliminate the cancer. It can go into remission. Not through drugs, not through chemistry, not through radiation. Changing your mind, changing your thought, changing your belief system. That's what causes cancer. That's what cures cancer, not chemotherapy and radiation. If you were healthy and went through chemotherapy and radiation, you'd come out sick as a dog. I'm going, look, cancer people are already sick. Then they give them the radiation and chemotherapy. They didn't make them any better. They made them sicker. It doesn't work that way. Cancer is not caused by genes. It's a field. A field is what causes that structure. Okay? Albert Einstein, the field is the sole governing agency. This is my one experimental paper. This is to show you a picture, 2 slides. Very quickly, I hope I get through it because I know you want to go home, but I'm going to try and tell you before you go home. Imagine 2 rocks, exactly the same size, same density, mass, weight, the same height above the water. And I drop both rocks into the water. And then the ripples from the rocks start coming, and they start coming closer. They're both going up, they're both going down, they're both going up, they're both going down. Why? They're in harmony. The 2 rocks created harmony in the ripples. I said, well, what happens when two ripples in harmony come together. I say, well, let me show you. First, schematically, you can see they're coming. I say, add up the values. +1, +1. Somebody say it. I heard somebody whisper it. Somebody say it. +2. Come on. You say, yo! I say, so what would this look like when it comes together? And the answer is simply this. Watch the two come together. Here they come. And I say, what happens? You add up the values. And I said, look at the wave. I said, so what? I said, look at the height of the wave. I said, what the hell does that mean? The smaller the rock, the smaller the wave. The bigger the rock, the bigger the wave. Bigger waves, more energy. Smaller waves, less energy. What does this show you? Two lesser energies in harmony, both going up and down at the same time, when they come together, create greater energy. Okay? That's interference. It's called interference, but it's called constructive interference. There's more energy when the two of them in harmony come together. I go, you've experienced this in your life. I go, yes, you have. But you called it something different. It was good vibes. Yeah. The things you like that come into your life make your life get more power to it. You buy something at the store, whether it's shoes or picture or furniture. Why did you pick out the element that you bought when there were many choices? You ready? It made you feel good. Yeah. That's why you bought things, because they made you feel good. So you bought it on the sense of what? Energy. More energy, more you feel good. Okay? The greatest energy is love. When people come together in love, the power is amazing. Don't say 10 minutes yet, because I'm going to not look at your sign. If you have kids in the car, just go up and get them in a little while. Let me show you something that looks exactly the same. I say, yeah, it looks the same, but I'll tell you what the difference is. Drop one rock before the other rock. I say, why? Because this ripple is going up, this one's going down. When this one's going up, this one's going down. They're out of phase. I say, but you can still add them up. Watch. Here they come. You can see they're out of phase. Add up the values. +1, -1? 0. Thank you. Okay, -1, +1? 0. Come on. 0. He's good. All right. I say, so what happens when these waves come together? Watch. Two waves out of harmony come together. Boom! Flat. No energy. That's called destructive interference. And you also know this. It's called bad vibes. Bad vibes, you can feel the energy losing out of your body. When you're in bad vibes, you feel your vitality beginning to disappear. Why? Energy is life. That's the point. More energy, more life. Less energy, less life. Pretty obvious. What's the point? You seek more life by finding energy that is in harmony with you so that you can expand your energy field. You pick things, you do things, you create a life around what? Enhancing your energy, because that means more life. If you find yourself in bad vibes, you avoid it like crazy. Why? Because bad vibes reduce energy, and with no energy, you lose life. That's a no-brainer. You seek high energy. You seek positive, constructive interference, not fear, because fear takes away your energy. Fear makes you powerless, and you've experienced that, especially around here in the last few years. Point. I can read your brain. Yeah. It's called electroencephalograph, EEG. Put wires on your head, and I can read your brain activity because it's electric. The brain is electric. And I can read your brain activity with wires on your head. And you go, yes. Inside my head are thoughts. And these thoughts have energy. And you can read them if you put the wires on my head, the thoughts inside my head. You go, that was true. Except there's another device to read the thoughts in your head. It's an old picture of a new technology. Not electroencephalograph, magnetoencephalograph. I say, what's unique about it? I said, it reads brain function. Yeah, but what's unique? The measuring probe does not touch your head. There's something profound, and you don't maybe get it. Let me help you with it. Your thoughts are a field generator. You're sending your thoughts out. all of the time. And energy engages energy. Okay? Significance of this is profound. For what reason? You are tuning fork. You're broadcasting a field. Wait, it's the field that shapes matter. Yes! This is what quantum physics has been telling you. Your thoughts send out fields, and it's fields that shape matter. Your thoughts are creating your life. Positive thoughts or negative thoughts? Good vibes, bad vibes? Two different stories, folks. Okay? The point about it is simple. You are generating a field. Right now, everybody's generating a field in here. I say, you know what's interesting about fields? It's not physical that have edges. You know, if I had two physical things, I could say, look, here are two physical things. Here's one, but here's the other one. I separated them. Guess what? Energy has no border to it, no edge. I say, why is it relevant? Well, look at the rain. Every raindrop is creating ripples. But look, there's no place on the entire pond where there's ripples not touching any other ripples. Every ripple on this pond is connected to every other ripple. Why? Energy has no border to it. Your thoughts are energy. Guess what? They're connected to everything. Why? Everything is energy. And you have to realize then, when you're sending out a tuning fork thought, the field shapes matter. But this is what quantum physics says in 1927. Your consciousness, your field, is manifesting your life. Point. I have a guitar. I tune this guitar, and God knows I don't know how to play a guitar. But I do know there's something called an A string. I could say G string, but people laugh. And I don't say it. It has an A string. And you tune that A string to the A note. And when you pluck that guitar and the A note plays, the vibration of A goes out. Okay? So let's stop it. Let's bring in a second guitar that's tuned exactly the same as the first. And so when I hit the A string on this guitar, as the vibration of the A passes over, it activates what on this guitar? What string is being activated? A string. Why? Because they're in harmony with each other. They have the same vibration. So I say, yep, I stroke this one, create the vibration moves over here, activates this guitar, but here's what I can do. I can come back to this one and stop the vibration. What will happen now? Okay, that's enough time. What's going to happen is this, the vibration from 2 is going to come back and activate the A string on this one. The question, which is a trick question, whose energy activated this one? Just reactivated? Whose energy reactivated? This one? No! The trick was, this energy came from this one. So it's coming back to its source. When you send out a vibration, it will activate something that has the same vibration. But when it does so, that vibration will come back to you. Okay? That's called the law of resonance. Send out a positive thought and it activates something positive that comes back to you. But send out a negative thought and you're going to engage something you don't want to see in your life because it's coming back. It's called the law of resonance, okay? Constructive interference, which enhances you, is love. Okay? Destructive interference is based on fear. So if you put out fear, it will only vibrate something that will generate fear. If you send out love, it will only resonate and vibrate something that returns love. And all of a sudden I say, you don't even get it. Your thoughts are bringing everything into your world. Positive things and negative things. I go, well, where'd the negative things come from? I said, where was the negative thought when you sent it out? Well, that can't happen. This won't work. No, it never works. Bad luck, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you're trying, you're negating your own life with a negative thought because it's only going to engage something that's negative and bring it back to you. So it becomes very critical. Understand, here are 5 goblets, so to speak. Dalai Lama, Scarface, Greek loving couple, Ku Klux Klan, kids having fun. I say, which of these things is going to be activated by this person's tuning fork? because this is a tuning fork. And it's going to activate whatever resonates with it. I say, so what happens? I say, well, what if you start activating through fear? Which of these are going to respond? Scarface is going to show up at your house. But in contrast, wait. What if my tuning fork is sending out love? It's not going to activate Scarface. Get ready, Dalai Lama is coming to your house. This is not an accident. This is not coincidence. This is not coincidence. I want you to understand you are manifesting your life. The exterior from the consciousness. The interior from the consciousness. But the exterior is strictly quantum physics related. The interior is epigenetics related. So you're creating both the interior and your exterior experiences. That's who you are. You're a creator. The field is the sole governing agency of matter. Can I ask you to give me a couple more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because the people in front want me to get off of here, but I'm not. No, I'm going to stay on. Here we go. Why are you having trouble with your life if you're not experiencing heaven on earth? Because the mind is the creator of this. I say the mind. And automatically think there's a singular thing called the mind. I go, that's where the problem begins. There are two minds. There's the conscious mind related to the front of the brain, 10% here at the front, the prefrontal cortex. This is the seat of the conscious mind. The rest of the brain is called the subconscious mind. Sub, let me just give you the word right now. Sub means below. So whatever comes from the subconscious mind comes below consciousness. It happens without you even seeing it. It's automatic. Your blood temperature is the right temperature, your body temperature, your heartbeat, all the things are running. You don't think about those things. The subconscious is controlling all of that. It doesn't come under consciousness. But the conscious mind is you. The conscious mind is you. There's no two people with the same conscious mind. It's your personal identity. It's your source. It's where spirit comes in. Okay? The function of the conscious mind. Creative, that's what makes us different than lower animals. Not only can we think, but with our thoughts, we create. And all of a sudden, that's why lower animals don't have that capability. Creation is imagination then manifesting itself. Okay? I say, well, what does it represent? This is important. This is your wishes, your desires, your aspirations. This is the positive thinking. This is what you want. I say, what do you want? If I asked any one of you right now, tell me what you want from your life. Whatever you're going to tell me is from imagination. And you say, I want this and that and that. I go, okay, that's creative. That's creative. I go, yeah, what about the subconscious mind? I go, well, it's a record playback mechanism. You learn the behavior, and then it can play it back. It's not all bad. When did you learn how to walk? Before you were 2? Are you still walking? Same program. You could be 102. You're still using the same program that was downloaded in your subconscious mind, downloaded before age 2. So the subconscious mind is the habits. You know how to drive a car. You know your job. You know language. You learned it. It's a habit. You don't have to think about it. The words will come. Okay? I say, where do you get your habits from? Instincts, which you didn't even have to think about. You didn't even have to learn it. An instinct, let's say a ball is coming toward your face, you will close your eyes immediately without you even thinking about it. It's built in instinct reflex. That's how fast it is. But it also has your experiences. Yeah, you learn how to walk, you learn how to play a music instrument, you learn how to drive a car, they become habits. And here's the critical part. You get some of your habits by observing your family and your community before age 7. And the reason why simply is this, is that the brain is a computer. The brain is a computer for sure. Get a brand new computer, start it, boots up, but if you don't have a program, it's useless. A baby's brain computer boots up in the last trimester of pregnancy, but it's unusable until what? You put programs in it. And they go into the hard drive. And the programs are like surfing the web, writing, doing spreadsheets, whatever. That's your memory. Those are habits. They're built into the machine. Once you put the programs in, then you can use the keyboard. Come on back. Oh, whoa, wrong story. Hold on. Don't go away. I got more to finish. Just a few more slides. Okay, good. More slides. Here we go. More slides, more slides, more slides. Okay, we were here. Okay, let's go back. Oh, wrong slide. Okay, let's do it this time. Okay, here we go. Same thing. Mind. Okay, we have conscious mind, subconscious mind. We have creative mind. We have habit mind. The habit mind. And I said that you got some of them from your experiences, but then you also got them from observing your mother, your father, your family, and your community. I say, why do I need them? And the answer is this. How many rules does it take to be a member of a family? How many rules does it take to be a functional member of a community? Thousands! I say, how do you teach an infant then to be a member of a family and to participate in the community? This kid can't read the book, kid can't go to school. And it turns out it's very interesting because these acquired behaviors and beliefs are the result of the brain functioning at a lower vibration. So you get the programming in the first 7 years of your life by observing others and downloading it, just like a video camera. Watch your mother, your father, your community, observe their behaviors, download them, and now you have the programs to be a member of a family and a community. However, the brain as a computer, the creativity is the conscious mind, and the hard drive is the subconscious mind. I go, absolutely, and the relevance is this. The first 2 years of your life, you're mainly sleeping as a baby, so you have the lowest vibration. But between ages 2 to 7, the higher vibration of your brain is theta. Theta is below consciousness, okay? Consciousness kicks in around age 7. That's when a child recognizes they're an individual compared to all the other individuals. Consciousness gets a boost at age 12, where you get to the higher level beta, which is the kind of consciousness in this room right now. But if you look at this chart, what's the most important part is there's no consciousness for the first 7 years. Very small. The primary